Getting into dentistry, or even medicine for that matter, is no joke. There are things that you sometimes need to prepare years in advance before you even submit your application, and you're competing against these people that, you know, oftentimes have more money and have more connections than you do, and that will give them things like max fax shadowing, work experience, or work experience abroad and stuff like that, that will make them stand out. So to compete with that, I have a list of every single thing that you need to do in your high school and college years to get into dental school, and this will not only put you on that same level playing field as them, but also make you stand out. So with the structure of this video, I'm going to basically talk about the basic kind of like things that you need to get into dentistry first, and then I'll talk about later on in this video the things that have more nuances, the things that you can finesse, the things that I think is how you get effectively into dental school without wasting your whole life kind of pining after this and doing like 100 work experiences and stuff like that. So the first things that you kind of no-brainer have to do is having good academics. Now this is kind of something that obviously there are ways to finesse it, but this video is not how to get good A stars in GCSEs and A-levels. I have videos of that on my channel, so make sure you check those out. But obviously you can study effectively and but if you obviously have higher grades in your GCSEs and A-levels, obviously it's going to be easier for you to get in, because those are kind of like filtering processes that universities have. And I know a lot of people think, oh, GCSEs, that doesn't even matter, but there are some universities, for example University of Birmingham, that really focus on your GCSEs. And one thing I do want to say is some universities, like for example Birmingham, they do want you to have specifically maths and English GCSEs as high, and there are most universities as well, they want you to have at least biology and chemistry for your A-level. So those are two things that I think you need to know, and a lot of them have like grade boundaries of A star AA or A star A star A star and stuff like that. But keep in mind, even if you get A star AA, you need to get high grades. If, for example, something like you have a poor UCAT or something like that, you want to have the best grades possible to give you the best chance to get into medicine or dentistry. The second thing that I think is just like a basic given is having a good UCAT. Now I have like 100 videos on my channel talking about UCATs, giving you free cheat sheets, talking about literally the best tools that nobody ever talks about. So I think you should check those out if you want to get a high UCAT. But I think getting a UCAT is so important. So what universities do is they have like kind of like thresholds. So for example, they'll start with all the students that have A star, A star, A star, whatever, and all of those ones will get filtered through, and then the ones that have poorer A-level grades or poorer UCAT grades get taken off, because obviously there's so many people applying every single year, they can't give places to everybody. So with your UCAT, that's also very important for your application. You want to make sure it's as high as possible. Obviously in the middle of the year you'll get like a UCAT, like an average score for that year, and for the people taking it in the UK, and I think getting above average is not enough. You need to get like very above average. I think people these days as well, they are getting a lot higher scores, so the average is also increased. Basically just check out those videos so you make sure that you get a good and high UCAT score. Doing your UCAT references is also another thing that's a given, but there is a way to finesse this, so I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video. So the reason that you do work experience is 1, to do it for your personal statement, and 2, for your interviews, and that's literally it. You don't need it for any other thing. Once you've gotten into dental school, like you don't need this kind of like experiences, or like you don't need to spend like 2 years of your life working at a volunteering like care home place or something like that. I'll talk about like exactly what you need to do and stuff like that, and what is the best types of work experience and stuff like that in a second. But I do want to emphasize that you don't need to spend like a whole like loads of your years like volunteering at like 10 different places. I think it's very doable if you strategically use your work experiences, because for example in interviews, yeah, there are a lot of more things that you could be doing. So like you selectively talk about specific experiences and specific scenarios in detail. You don't talk about every single thing that you've done, and especially in your personal statement you only have 4,000 characters. You won't have the space to talk about every single thing that you've done. You won't need it for anything else getting into dental school, or even when you're at dental school. These experiences will kind of be useless. It will be kind of helpful to, you know, get a realistic appreciation, see if this is a career that you actually want to do, but there are ways that you can go strategically about getting your work experience, so that you're not spending 4 years of your life getting work experience and doing 10 different things, and also volunteering for XYZ, doing all these extracurricular activities. But there is a way of going around it so that you like cherry pick work experiences, and you choose the ones that are going to be the best to talk about and will give you the most experience, and that will give you the most stories to talk about, or more BS that you can talk about. Not every work experience is going to be the same, and in your interview I think there are a lot more important factors that come into your interview, like your communication skills and how well you can BS on the spot, and you know how well you can talk about a specific scenario in depth even if you're not prepared for it. And you know, I talk all about that in my interview videos, which, you know, talk a lot about developing these stories and talking about the things that they want to hear from you. But so yeah, so interviews, I don't really think you need to have mad amounts of work experience, because it's more about talking on the spot and integrating all of these these things that they want to hear from you. And personal statements also, they only have 4,000 characters. There's no way that you can talk about every single thing that you've done in this personal statement. What you want to do is you want to choose a few things that you've done and really develop them and flesh them out and talk about all of the skills that you want, because otherwise it will sound like a list, and that is something that really turns off admissions tutors. And so basically you've done all this work and it actually makes your personal statement worse. It doesn't make sense. And instead, wouldn't it be better to do like a select few work experiences and extracurriculars and save you all of that time and stuff like that? Because no two work experiences are going to be the same. Some work experiences you can talk about a lot more. They have a lot more that you can talk about, you know, in terms of leadership skills and team working and empathy and all these things, and the amount of people that you see day in day out and stuff like that also matter, because that's something that they want to see. So with work experience, they say that the recommended amount is 2 weeks, but I think nowadays a lot of people are a lot more competitive. They already will have, you have to kind of have 2 weeks or you won't even be considered. But I think what they're looking for nowadays is more of a variety of work experience, and I think there are two main types of work experiences. There's obviously people-based work experiences, which are, for example, working in Starbucks or something like that, or working in a care home, or volunteering for homeless people and stuff like that, because you're talking to a lot of people. That's communication skills. You're interacting with these people, you're building a rapport, you're, you know, you have those empathy skills and stuff like that. And then there is also hospital-based work experience, which is more like max fax shadowing. And if you can't do that, you can do dentist like shadowing. And maybe if you can only get in your dental practice shadowing, maybe you can also get something like a speciality. So be like, okay, so this person does speeds or does ortho or something like that, and ask if you can shadow them. And if that's not even possible, and you know, I know how it is nowadays because it's COVID and stuff like that, so I have this video up here which is all about getting work experience in COVID and doing all of these online things and buying these at-home kits that are really cheap that you can like practice doing, like, you know, composites and stuff like that. Even if you're going into dental school, it's something that you can maybe bring into your interviews and stuff like that, and is really helpful. At least this way you're showing that you have initiative. You're going to these MOOCs, you're going to these webinars and stuff like that. And there are also specific like dentistry people that will take you around their office and stuff like that and tour you around the dental chair and show you what it's like, you know, as a virtual work experience, literally. And some of them also give you certificates. So I think those things are really important, and make sure you check out that video if you're struggling to get work experience or if you want to add a few things onto your resume. And the great thing about it is that you don't have to go anywhere. You can do it all at home. And with your extracurriculars, you want to know like what about these extracurriculars are they saying about you. So for example, if you're playing in a volleyball team, what does that say about you? You can talk about communication skills, you can talk about team working, you can talk about leadership and stuff like that. So there are obviously some buzzwords that they want to hear in your personal statement and your interview, and if you check out my personal statement video, you'll see all about that in there. But there are some words like empathy they want to see evidence of in your work experience, and so that's where you have to cherry pick your work experiences. You don't want to have like 10 work experiences where you're all the leadership position. You want to have different things that you can talk about, and I think this is really important. It shows that, you know, you have good time management, that you're working on all these skills that you have already realized is important to be a dentist, and you're developing them, and it shows like you can develop these things a lot more and it's a lot easier to talk about. And then there is the fact of manual dexterity that you kind of have to talk about. So I think with manual dexterity, everyone has pretty much done nails and everyone has done henna, everyone said that they do makeup or like do some sort of musical instrument, but I think there are a lot more sophisticated ways of saying that you do and practice manual dexterity over the summer and stuff like that. There are a lot of things like, you know, suture kits that you can do at home, because, you know, dentists do sutures as well. There are like a lot of things you can get, like little tiny little like polymer clay kind of things, but it's not just clay, it's like actual like teeth material, and you can like practice shaping them into the tooth anatomy and stuff like that, and like the different cusps. Or you can get like at-home composite kits, and that, like I was talking about before, you can kind of like, they'll give you like instruments and you can practice carving a tooth like you would as if you were a dentist and stuff like that. So you're practicing all of these skills that you know that a dentist has, and the best thing about this is that you can bring it into interviews and you can actually show them. You can be like, this is what I've done. It's not the best, but you know, I've been practicing and I've been working, and I realized that these are things that are interesting, and this is, you know, I'm really passionate about it. I'm learning all that I can about it. Okay, coming up to the last few things is very important though, is that you have to apply strategically. Now, even if you have all A stars, even if you have a good UCAT and stuff like that, you have to apply strategically, because certain universities will be looking at things more highly than other things. Some universities don't even look at your personal statement. Some of them look really highly on your UCAT. Some of them, like Birmingham, look at your GCSEs, sorry, and some of them look at your A-levels and work experience, and most of them actually are very interview heavy. So yeah, there are different things also that they look in your interviews. So I have a video up here as well which tells you all about how to apply strategically and what universities are looking for what, and how you can play to your strengths. So like maybe you don't have that great GCSEs but you have really good UCAT, or maybe your personal statement's like shit, so maybe you need to apply somewhere else where, you know, they won't look at that so much. And then you have references. Now I said I'll get to it, but a lot of people get hooked up on the idea that they need to have their favorite teacher writing their references, and this is where they go wrong, because it's not just your favorite teacher. Because okay, yeah, they will write really good things about you, but you need a teacher that basically knows how to write well and knows how to write the right things. Because obviously, like I said, there's buzzwords, there's things that they want to hear about you as a student from your teacher, and a lot of teachers basically, they don't really know what to write. And make sure that whoever you get them to sign your references, make sure that you get them to give it to you before they send it off, and you can proofread it and see if there are any things you would like to change. A lot of the time as well, what you can do is you can go to a teacher and be like, hey, like I want you to write my reference if that's okay. Can you also write, like, can you talk about like some of these characteristics or something like that that they want to hear about, because you know I'm applying to dentistry or something like that and it's really competitive and I would really appreciate it, all of that stuff, you know, give them a box of chocolates, all of that stuff. But you really want to make sure that they're writing good stuff about you, and not only that, they're writing well, they're writing things about team working skills and, you know, being an effective communicator and having good presentation skills, and, you know, being an active participant in class, and all of those things that they want to hear from you. Don't just leave it up to your teacher. You want to take every single part of your application in your hands. You want to be in control of all of it. And in reference to interview prep, really make sure that you know how to prepare for your interviews, because this is also like one of the most stressful parts of the whole application, because you're competing against the best of the best. You're actually competing in person, and nerves can get the best of you. Like loads of things can go wrong. So I have loads of videos as well on interview prep depending on the type of interview that you have, as well as specific videos on like model answers and stuff like that, like why dentistry and why dentistry not medicine and stuff like that. So make sure you check those out if you're interested and if you want to be prepared. I know this comes after application, but I think this is something really important. A lot of people just kind of put it off, but it's really important to prepare for this as well. And as for alternative routes, there are always gap years. You can do different degrees and then transfer over. You can do sometimes foundation degrees where it's like a year before dental school, and then if you do well enough they'll transfer you to dental school, and loads of different ways that you can go into dentistry, like postgrad and stuff like that. But I do want to say that you don't have to worry about if, you know, feeling older than everybody else or taking a year out and what are the complications and, you know, money and stuff like that, because a lot of people, pretty much like half of the year at least, is going to be people that have already done a degree before, who are older, who have taken multiple gap years, have done a master's, who sometimes, you know, are like older than like 40, 60 sometimes. So it's completely fine. Like everyone here is on their own journey. Dentistry is so hard to get into. Don't feel intimidated by anyone, because you're doing your own thing. You're going to be a dentist at the end of the day, same as everybody else, and that is such an accomplishment to be proud of. But yeah, that's all from me. I hope that was really helpful. I have loads of other videos on getting into dental school, so if you're interested in that, make sure you check those videos out on my channel, as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on another video. I also have loads of other videos on life as a dental student, because I'm now a 4th year, as well as productivity tips and all of those kind of things. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss other videos like this, and comment, because I reply to every single one of them. And I will see you later. Bye.